am Heather Eckert. I'm the assistant head of school for enrollment and the director of admission at Indian Mountain School. And before I turn it over to the most important people on the Zoom, the IMS students who are on this panel with me, I wanted to share a little bit of background about IMS.
大家好，今天我们的讲座就会开始了。那今天我们邀请了 Indian Mountain School 的 Miss Heather Eckert 老师，就是她是 IMS 的副校长，还有招生总监，来跟我们做一个分享。那今天除了她会参与我们今天的这个 webinar 以外呢，我们还邀请了4位现在就已经毕业的学生来跟我们去做一个分享。然后就是 Miss Eckert 的话，她现在会先介绍 IMS 的一些基本的信息。
So Indian Mountain is located in Lakeville, Connecticut. We have over 600 acres and our own mountain, which you can see in my screen behind me. We were founded in 1922, and we have 250 students from pre-kindergarten to grade 9, about 105 boarding students grades 6 through 9, with over 16 different countries represented. Our average class size is about 12 students. We have a student-teacher ratio of 4:1 and 60 full-time faculty members.
Indian Mountain 学校的基本信息，所以的话就学校的话呢，它就是有就是600多个英亩的就是校园，然后他们真的是在一个就是他们学校后面就是他们的山，就是 Indian Mountain 这样。然后他们学校的话呢，就是在1922年成立的，他们就是从幼儿园就是 Pre-K 到9年级。整个学校的话呢，就是250个学生，但是呢，他们的住校的学生呢，就是从6年级才开始住宿的，就是6到9年级就是有寄宿的部分。他们总共呢，就是有105个寄宿的学生，然后来自16个不同的国家。他们基本上平均呢，每班都是有12名学生，然后老师的比例都是师生比例吧，就是4:1。这样子，然后就最后的话，就是他们有60多个全职的员工，就是老师去教学生，还有照顾他们。
So in 2016, we started our strategic plan, and so as part of that, we looked at our strategic vision. This is a shot of our campus right here.
这个的话就是他们学校的一个环境吧，给大家可以先看一下。
And we came up with our vision is of a vibrant, joyful community of learners where every child is known, supported, and inspired. IRMS will provide a distinctive and transformational learning experience, making use of our extraordinary campus to connect our curriculum to the world around us. Our cohesive program will prepare students with the skills and habits of mind necessary for future success.
就是这个的话呢，就是他们学校的就是基本的理念吧。他们就是 Indian Mountain 的话，就是一个很开心的一个学校。他们的话呢，就等一下学生也会有一个分享的。他们就是在学校里面也是好像一个大家庭一样，大家都相处的非常非常的融洽的。所以他们呢也希望每一个孩子都可以得到就是支持，还有老师对每一个学生的关注度也是挺高的。所以他们就觉得自己学校呢，就是提供一个独一无二的一个平台给学生。还有这个的话呢，就是因为学校的话，他们也有一些特色的课程，可以让他们有一个就是在就是正式上课以外的一些体验。所以他们的话呢，就不只是说，就是所有的学生或者所有的课程都是在一个 classroom， 就是在一个课室里面去上课，但是他们也有很多在比如说在户外啊，或者在山里面的一些活动，可以让他们去参与。
So as part of the strategic plan, we rewrote our mission for the school. So IMS inspires each member of our community the courage to climb, the joy to create, the passion to learn, and the spirit to contribute in kind and meaningful ways, with our founding motto of life through service.
就是 Indian Mountain 这个学校呢，除了就是刚才说的是一个很快乐的一个学校以外呢，他们还是比较专注，就是希望学生会有这个对学习有这个热情，然后他们的话呢，也希望能够通过就是一些的社区服务去教他们怎么可以帮到其他的人，就是用一个更有意义的方式去建立好这个世界。
So as part of the strategic plan, we identified 5 priorities for the school for a 5-year period.
他们的话呢，因为他们正在做一个，就是2016年开始，就是做了一个改革吧，就希望就是学校可以就是更好一些，所以这个的话呢，接下来的话，Miss Eckert 的话，他就是会说这个改革主要是包含了5个点。
So one is the first is our community as our classroom, our mountain as a classroom.
第一个呢，就是在右手边的，就是 our mountain as a classroom，就是他们是因为有这个地理位置的好优势吧，他们因为就是刚才说了，学校后面基本上就是 Indian Mountain，就是他们的山，所以呢，他们有很多的活动都是会利用这个天然的资源吧，就是在山去做一个教师。
Life through service, teaching for relevance and purpose.
然后之后的话呢，就是他们也是希望可以就是教学生去怎么去，就是帮助到其他的人。
And then for IMS,
这
as
个
we
的话，
approach our centennial in 2022.
对，对，就是他们2022年的话，就是100年的这个周年的纪念。然后他们的话呢，就是希望就是刚才说了，除了对就是自己的一个社区能够做一个什么的一个贡献以外，他们还是希望能够培养学生对学校也会做一个贡献。
So as part of the strategic plan, we also developed a portrait of an Indian Mountain student, and I won't read through all of this, but I'll just flip through the next few slides. And we do have a PDF of all of this information, which Iris and Zion can share with any families that are interested too. So a scholar, a communicator, a citizen, courageous.
他们的话呢，就是学校希望就是能够培养学生作为一个就是有一个公民吧，就是怎么去就是对刚才说了对这个社会做一个贡献，然后呢，就是他们也有写就是对这个环境就是知道比如说要保护环境这样子。之后的话呢，他们也是希望培养学生能够成为一个很勇敢的一个人，就是他们希望就是他们可以就是去接受一些新的事物还有就是比较有挑战性，喜欢接受这个挑战。
So looking at our curriculum, it is definitely a student-centered approach. And, I can ask a few of the students who are on this webinar if they maybe like to share, if one or two of you would like to share a favorite moment in the classroom at IMS.
对，所以刚才就是 Miss Eckert 的话呢，他就是说Indian Mountain 这个学校的话呢，他们的课程都是以学生为主的，所以他希望的话，现在就是接下来就是可以让学生去分享他们在学校里面一些比较印象比较深刻，或者是他们比较喜欢的部分。
Great, Justin, you go first.
我自己在 IMS 只待了1年，那在这1年，我觉得我对学校的印象都是挺深刻的，因为主要是每一班都很小，就10个学生左右，10个学生左右，我就觉得you'll see like especially in the English class, there's a lot of like class discussions and like the teachers really do a lot to get the students involved, which is something I really appreciate, and that's something like I've never experienced when I was studying in Hong Kong.
Great, thanks, Justin. Does anyone else want to share?
Jerry, you got anything to say?
So like my favorite moment at IMS in the classroom is probably give me a moment, please. Thank you, guys. It's probably gonna be like the history panel and like and the project that we did. And this year we had a project about like the Amazon forest and like how we preserve the environment, and we act in like different groups and act in different organizations about like solving the problem and all those stuffs. And a really great experience, and learned a lot from it, especially about like the current environment and world problems. It's really helpful.
Great. So these are the photos here, are just some of the examples of, beyond a lot of discussion-based classrooms, hands-on laboratories. The top right picture, the 6th grade was creating Greek podcasts in our recording studio. And then the left picture is an example of what Jerry was talking about, where There are a lot of Model UN type forums where students are given different topics to debate, whether it's a global problem or like an ethics bowl where they're talking about moral solutions. These are photos of our student center. And so we have 4 art spaces in this building, as well as a recording studio, a music room, which hosts guitar classes, beginning and advanced, a rock band, a jazz band, and maybe at the end, Jerry can talk a little bit more about music at IMS. And then we also have a maker space where we have 3D printer. You can see that the robotics club is working on some building in the maker space here. This is a shot of one of our art studio classes. Theater is also a big part of our curriculum. Students can also choose it as a sport or activity in the fall, and the group this year wrote their own play and then performed. In the spring, we also have a musical where students can be part of the, they can play a sport in the afternoon or activity, and then from 5 to 6 be part of the musical program. As far as sports, we have over 17 different sports options. We use Hotchkiss's facilities for swimming and squash and ice hockey. We have a ski mountain that's about 25 minutes away. This is a photo of our girls soccer team who's been undefeated for the past 3 years. Does anyone want to share something about their sports experience at IMS? Maybe Ryan?
Okay. So like, basically, I feel like even though you already talked about it, IMS is basically a really big family, but in sports especially, you really get to connect with different people. Like I was part of 3 teams, you know, soccer in the fall, swimming in the winter because I swim, and tennis in the spring. I feel like I still keep in touch with a lot of the kids from each of my teams because we've been able to bond so much. And there's a lot of room to improve, as well as flexibility, because it's not just one team for every single different sport. You know, there's different levels depending on how good you are. So you never really have to worry about, okay, am I going to do good at this? Are people going to laugh at me? Will I be able to learn? Because the answer to all of them is like, you're going to be able to get better as a person from doing sports.
These are my advisees. In terms of updates at school, we have expanded our boarding population. We added on to one of our boys' dormitories, and we renovated all of the common spaces in every single one of our dorms. And we recently completed 6 tennis courts, which the students were really excited to come back to campus this spring and use. But so they will be ready for our students this fall.
就是刚才呢，就是有一些照片的话呢，就是Miss Eckert 的话呢，她就是介绍了学校的一些活动还有设备的。就是刚才说了，他们的学校就是以这个学生就是为主的一个课程，所以他们的话呢也会就是有一些辩论呢，或者是一些模联的一些活动。主要的话呢，就是希望能够学生培养一个就是批判性的一个思维吧，还有就是在上课的时候去培养他们的这个讨论，还有就是他们的一个 research 的一个就是 ability。之后的话呢，他们也会有一些就是叫做 student center， 就是学生的活动的空间吧。他们也会有什么音乐室啊，还有就是他们也会有自己的乐队。这样就是有一些比如说吉他呀，或者是其他的一些音乐课程可以让学生去学。所以基本上如果就是新的学生去到学校以后你们也可以跟老师说，就是我比如说我希望学钢琴的，就是老师也会帮你去找一个钢琴的老师，就是在学校里面去学这门乐器。除了音乐教师以外呢，他们还会有一个叫做 maker space， 主要的话呢就是有一些什么 3D 的打印啊，还有就是一些机器人的一些课程呢。但是因为这个的话呢是一个初中，所以他们的一些什么机器人或者是一些 3D 的设备的话，会跟高中的那些水平会有点距离的，但是这个课程的话他们是有的。另外呢，就是在美国吧，就是美初跟美高是一样，他们都是每一个学期都是需要去选一门运动然后3个学期的运动也是不一样的。 Indian Mountain 的话呢，他们就是比较特别，他们呢就是如果在秋季的时候，如果你就觉得我不喜欢选这个运动的话，你们也可以选一个叫做 theater。那 theater 的话呢，就是会有一些什么戏剧的表演啊，这样子就是可以代替这个秋季的一个运动。然后他们在每一年的一个春季的时候呢，都会有一个音乐剧的一个表演，所以他们也是很鼓励，就是全校的学生去参与这些音乐剧吧，就比如说，如果有一些学生比较内向的，都不喜欢去台上表演的，但是就可以去做一些 backstage 就比如说去帮忙去设计一些海报啊，或者是一些道具等等，这个都是可以的。然后的话呢，就是IMS 的话呢，他们就是离 Hotchkiss 就是特别的近。Hotchkiss 的话呢，就是美国排名前10的一个高中来的，所以他们有一些运动的话呢，都是会用 Hotchkiss 那边的一些设备，就比如说什么壁球啊、游泳啊这些的话呢，他们都会用 Hotchkiss 那边的设备这样子了。所以这个 slide 就是主要就是说，就是 Miss Eckert 刚刚说了，他们其实这几个月吧，虽然说学生都是在上这个网课，但是呢，学校其实也做了很多更新的，就比如说他们也会去翻新这个宿舍呀，希望能够去迎接更多的一些技术的学生。然后最大的一个项目吧，就是他们就是建了6个最先进的一个网球场。
This is just a campus photo.
这个都是他们学校的校区。
We also just finished a net zero outdoor lab building.
这个的话呢，就是他们的其中一个最新的一个教室吧，这个教学楼吧，他们就是一个就比较先进的，是一个户外的一个实验室，然后他们呢都是用了这个太阳能发电的一个原理来供电的为这个教学楼。
So our 9th graders do a capstone project working with the United Nations, and 3 or 4 years ago, 3 of our students actually helped design this building. So they researched what components went into a carbon neutral building. They presented to our faculty and our students, and then they worked and their designs were turned over to architects to build this net zero teaching and learning facility.
Right. 所以基本上这个新的教学楼吧，是一个老师跟学生一起做的一个项目来的，因为这个就是几年前，就是几个就是三个9年级的学生，他们就是有这一个计划，所以他们就是会跟老师一起去讨论，就说我们希望有这个新的教室，然后就是希望可以用一些就是太阳能发电的这些原理吧，就是为这个教学楼去提供这个就是供电啊，还有就是比较环保一点吧。所以他们的话呢，也是把自己的一个idea，就是跟学校的老师去做了一个presentation， 就是做了一个介绍。然后学校的话呢，也就是跟那些建筑师就是做了一个就是讨论吧，就觉得其实这个 project 也有可能的，所以他们的话呢，所以这个学校的话，他们也是相对来说比较开明，所以他们也是会接受学生的一些建议。
Here's just another photo of the building. It was supposed to open this spring, so the students have not been able to use it yet, but it is ready to go for September.
Right. 这个教学楼吧，基本上都是已经建好了。本来是这个春季的时候，就是学生都可以用的，但是很可惜，就是因为这个疫情的这个问题，所有学生都是在春季的这个时候都是要网课，所以暂时的话就是没有人能用这个教学楼，所以我们就等到9月份吧。
And then I don't have any slides of this, but I should also probably share that we are breaking ground soon on a new field house, which will have 2 basketball courts and squash courts. And so I will have more updates on that to come, but that should be very soon.
Right. 就是刚才除了就是学校建了新的6个网球场以外呢，他们还在建了2个篮球场，还有2个壁球场。但是现在的话呢，因为他们还在建，所以就目前没有照片。
So for important dates, our deadline is like all of the junior boarding schools. We have a common deadline of December 15th for families from China, and the decision released on January 15th. Many of those schools are a bit different from for families for Hong Kong. So just be sure to ask each school, because most of the schools are rolling admission for families from Hong Kong. So depending on where you live, just be sure to find out more information. And then our decisions are released on January 15th. And then families have until February 1st to make their decision about where they will enroll.
Right. 这个的话呢，就是跟大家说，就是一个申请的重要的日期。那这些的话呢，主要就是针对来自中国的申请的学生。如果是来自香港的话呢，他们一般都是滚动招生的，就没有说一个说申请截止的时间。但是因为每一所每初他们的一个截止日期都不一样，所以老师就是建议，如果就是有家庭还是会申请其他的美初的话呢，都需要跟他们的招生主管去沟通清楚。那个截止的时间，所以这个的话呢，就是如果来自中国的家庭要申请Indian Mountain 这所美初的话呢，就是12月15号的时候就是截止，基本上就是说要你的标号分数啊，还有你的就是学生文章啊、家庭文章家长文章这些的话呢，都需要交到给学校的，然后他们就会用1个月的时间来看所有中国申请者的一个他们的一些文章啊，还有老师推荐信等等，就会在1月15号的时候就会公布这一个录取的结果。那他们一般就会让家庭就是最晚就是要在2月1号之前，就是要告诉学校你们来还是不来。
Just want to quickly ask you, so regarding like, let's say students from, let's say Singapore or other regions in Asia, would they also be in the Hong Kong situation in terms of the application timeline?
Yes. Families from Korea are the December 15th deadline, but then other countries for most of the junior boarding schools typically fall into the rolling Hong Kong deadline.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And then for visitors this fall, since we likely will not have visitors on campus, we are happy to set up Zooms for families anytime to do virtual tours and interviews as well. And we will have a new website up in a few weeks that will have lots of videos of our campus to share. We also have a website that we've created about the opening of school. So that will be on our website probably by the end of July.
所以就有一些如果是关于申请的一些更新或者是其他的一些信息吧，他们就是内部的话还在做这个讨论，所以大家如果要申请的话，就可以在7月底的时候，他们就会有一个更新，在学校的网站上面可以看得到的。
So we are planning for school in person. We are definitely going to have students coming back to campus, but then we will also have a hybrid model. So we will have a remote learning track for our students who are unable to come to campus or are unable to arrive for the start of the school year, because we want to make sure and so we'll have dual tracks throughout the year. The students can talk a little bit about how their online learning was this spring, but all of our faculty were involved in professional development with one of the top online school programs over the summer. And so I think that the online program will look different than it did this spring with more planning, but we're going to make sure that no matter where our students are, they can still be a part of the IMS community and the IMS learning experience.
就他们的话呢，就学校的话还是会按计划呢，就是9月份会有这个面授课，但是因为学校也会考虑到有一些，比如说国际家庭，就是可能会有这一个就是入境的一个限制，或者是一些新的学生他们会有这个签证的这个问题，所以基本上呢，他们都会有一个就是 hybrid learning， 就是说有一些是网课，有一些呢就是就是如果学生能够去到校园的话，他们也会有一个面授课这样子，所以他们就是比较有弹性吧，对于这个未来这一个学期的一个上课的形式。
Just quickly, the application requirements. So an admission interview, which we'll do by Zoom, transcript, student questionnaire and parent questionnaire, the TOEFL or the TOEFL Junior, and then a math and an English teacher recommendation.
这个的话就是基本的申请要求吧。就一般的话呢，他们都会就是建议就是去美国校园去面试的。但是因为今年的话就是比较特殊吧，就是因为疫情的这个问题，所以基本上呢，今年所有的就是面试都会是通过一个线上的模式，就是通过 Zoom 来进行这个面试的。那除了面试以外呢，就所有家庭的话呢，还需要递交一个学校的成绩单，一般都是过去2年的一个成绩单。还有就是student questionnaire 的话，基本上就是那个学生的文章，还有就是 parent form 的话，就是那个家长的文书。之后的话呢，就是一个标化的一个考试成绩啦。他们就是要求是一个大托福或者是一个小托福也是可以的。SSAT 呢，就是对于就是 IMS 来说就不是一个必须的一个申请的要求。那除了标化以外，那当然就是还需要2个老师推荐信，就是英文还有数学老师的推荐信。
And we do have our own Indian Mountain application, but we also accept all of the common applications. So the SAO through SSAT and the TABS boarding school application.
就是Indian Mountain 的话呢，他们也会接受，就是那个通用的申请，就是叫做 SAO 这样子然后还有他们也会有学校自己的一个申请的一个系统，所以这个的话呢，就要就是看家庭的一个需求。如果说你们还是同时会申请其他的学校的话，那可能就会建议用这个SAO 的系统，就是通用的申请。这样子基本上写好文章都可以递交给大部分的美国学校。但是如果你说只是会集中申请 Indian Mountain 的这个学校的话呢，就可以用自己就是 Indian Mountain 自己学校系统里面的一个文章。
So the students can speak to this later, but we have a director of secondary school advising that helps students with the process of applying to high schools. We have over 70 or 80 students visit our campus every fall. We have a panel of directors of admission, speak to them in September from Hotchkiss, Salisbury, Berkshire, Millbrook, Kent.
这个的话呢，主要就是介绍他们学校的一个升学的一个不是服务了，这是升学的一个环节吧。就是他们学校呢，就是会有一位老师去负责，就是9年级的学生的一个升学，就比如说就是会跟他们去讨论一个就是学校名单这样子，然后当然去协助他们去完成整个美高的这个申请了。那除了这个老师以外呢，他们学校还是会邀请就是超过70所的一个美高来他们的学校去做一个小小的一个宣讲会。那当然就是在这个宣讲会的时候呢，就是学生的话还是会有机会去跟这些美高的招生官会有一个短短的一个交流，就是可以说是留下一个好的初步的印象吧。这样子当然就是老师推荐信的话也会是有这个 IMS 老师来写了。所以之后的话，我们还是会邀请，就是今天几位学生来帮我们去做这个升学的分享。
And before IMS, I worked at Hotchkiss. I was the director of admission operations at Hotchkiss. And so I worked with many Indian Mountain students who were very, very well prepared and also had just a really strong sense of self and were just great kids.
那 Miss Eckert 在就是 Indian Mountain 工作之前呢，她其实就是在隔壁的高中，就是那个前10的 Hotchkiss 那个学校里面工作，也是做一些招生的就是招生的那个部门的，所以她也是觉得，就是她之前也是处理过很多 Indian Mountain 学生的一些申请，所以她都是觉得，就是 Indian Mountain 的学生他们都是很独立，也很有自己的一些想法吧。
And if you're curious about where our graduates do go, we have all of that matriculation information on our website too.
Right. 就是如果就是大家对Indian Mountain 这个学校他们的毕业生的趋向，就是想了解多一点的话，也可以去他们学校的网站上面去看。
So I would love for all of the students, IMS students who are here to quickly maybe introduce yourself and where you're from and share where you're going to school, high school next year too.
Okay,
Sure.
Justin, why don't you go first?
All right, I'll start. I'm Justin. I graduated from IMS in 2019. 2019, right?
Yes.
It's just last year. All right, so I graduated last year. Now I'm a rising junior in Loomis. So I went to Loomis as a sophomore last year, and now I'm going to be going into junior year for next year.
Okay. Ryan?
Hi guys, my name is Ryan. I also graduated last year, and I'm a rising sophomore, and I go to school at Hotchkiss, pretty close to IMS.
Okay, good. Annie?
Hi, I'm Annie. I graduated this year, and my first year at IMS was 8th grade, and I'm probably going to Blair as a sophomore next year.
Okay. And Jerry?
Hi guys, I'm Jerry, and I attend IMS in 8th grade, and I'm a rising freshman. Yeah, freshman at Hotchkiss.
You're a repeating freshman at Hotchkiss.
Yeah, repeating freshman at Hotchkiss. Thank you for your correction, Dion.
Yeah, no problem. OK， 今天我们很高兴就能请到就是4个 IMS 的学生，2个呢是去年就是毕业的，一个 Justin 他是现在在 Loomis， 然后 Ryan 现在是在 Hotchkiss， 然后呢还有2位的话呢是刚刚从 IMS 毕业的 ，Jerry 的话呢他将会去 Hotchkiss 那边读9年级，然后 Annie 的话呢会去 Blair 那边读10年级。Anything specific you would like them to share, Heather, regarding their time at IMS?
How about one favorite moment?
Yeah, there are multiple favorite moments. I think for me, my most memorable times in IMS are all from sort of living in the dorm with my friends. There were a lot of very funny stories in the dorm, and I think I can't really say a specific moment, and even though I feel like I'm sort of avoiding the question, I'll say my favorite part of IMS would just be being able to bond with such a small group of kids. Even though there's 48, our class last year had 48 students in our grade, but then that means you get to know everyone really well. You get to know your friends who are boarding with you. You get to know them really, really well, which is and I've made some really good friends in IMS over just 1 year, which is amazing.
All right, thank you. Ryan?
I think similar to what Justin said, right? Because the thing I like the most about the school is everyone. It's a very diverse community. Sorry, it's small, but people come from a lot of different places. You get to learn a lot from them. My best memories are just spending time with my best friends there, Zobran and Ati. One's from Malawi and one's from South Africa, and I learned so much from them, and they've shared so much of their experience with me that I'm able to, deepen my understanding about the world in general and just, have a good time.
All right. Annie?
On top of spending time with friends from our grade, because I live in a dorm where almost all the people in my dorm are younger than me. So I think the interconnectedness with different grades has helped me build many more relationships. And one of my favorite moments from this year was the winter dorm competition where we had to make a video about basically related to Christmas. And our dorm collaborated really well together. And I think that's my favorite part of this year.
Well, my favorite moment in IMS was probably performing on the stage. I'm a double bass player, and I really like the music program at IMS. It feels really good to share my own music with the entire IMS community. Yes.
Jerry, do you want to share a little bit about your Saturday mornings and what you would do?
My Saturday mornings. Well, I usually go to the student center and practice, and that's where I usually put my instruments. And
But were you with the group of students that went to Bard College?
Yes, me, Lucas, and Tony, and we went there every Friday. And I think IMS can really provide their student really great music materials and resources like Bard College and Hotchkiss School. Yes.
today I hope I invited all the students because I think for especially for what they especially for Jerry and Annie, a lot of our families this year they actually want to hear what kind of experience they have, especially during the last few months. So I'm just wondering, maybe Heather can start, sharing about how IMS have been, I guess, handling the situation, and maybe the students can share a little bit of their own experience learning, from different parts of the world, even at different schools.
Sure. So we pivoted to online learning in March, and so we ended the last 2 months of the year. And to be honest, I think a lot of the schools in the United States, we didn't realize that we were going to, it was going to happen so quickly. And so we left for spring break thinking that we would see our students again, and we were not able to, which was super sad. But the feedback that we heard from our families was extremely positive about the experience. I mean, I think the students spoke about how much connection and community is really important at IMS. And so not having that in person, I think, was really hard for kids. But I think all things considered, and the students can speak to it, but I think that it went well. And, we're planning, I think, for reopening and having students on campus in the fall. In our state of Connecticut, we have extremely low cases of the virus where we live. There are 0 at the local hospital, which is 5 minutes away from us. And I think we've only had maybe 40 to 50 total cases in our area for the whole time. So, we're lucky because we do have students coming from all over the world, and we will start in a safe way. But we're really encouraged because we are in the beautiful countryside about 2 hours from New York. So we're close to New York City, but it is very rural. And I think that also helps really build the community and the connection that the kids feel to the place too.
就是刚才这样老师呢，就是问Miss Eckert 呢，就是他们的过去几个月的一个线上学习的一个情况。那老师就说呢，其实他们3月份呢就已经开始了这个网上的学习。其实一开始的时候，跟其他的美国学校其实也有同一个问题，他们也不知道就是学生跟家长他们会不会适应，因为这个也是一个就是今年挺新的一个教学的模式来的。但是呢，他们总体来说吧，就是家长还有学生的反馈也是挺不错的。所以他们反而是通过这个线上的学习，就觉得其实学生跟老师的关系变得更好。那Miss Eckert 的话呢，他刚才也说了，就是因为Intermountain 这个学校呢，真的是在一个比较偏僻的一个地方，所以呢，他们的那个就是对这个就是那个 COVID-19 就是这个病毒的感染率吧，还是挺低的。这样子就是如果在整个他们是在康州，就是离纽约大概是2个小时的车程，然后因为刚才说的是你们也可以在照片里面看得见，也是挺就是乡郊，就这样说吗？郊区这样子的，所以就他们的就是没有很多人去有一个感染，但是如果你说就这个 area 吧，就这个地区吧，大概可能就是40到50个就是 cases 这样子了，但是那个情况还是挺不错的啦。
Thank you. So no, as I would say, especially Annie and Jerry, would you be able to share a little bit, show what has been, what's your experience in the last few months? I guess with the remote learning and also the at IMS.
Yeah, I can go first. So
Okay.
it definitely took a couple weeks to adapt, but afterwards we slowly got into a routine. And even with the flip schedule, classes were still kept upbeat, and especially in advisory, we were still able to have a lot of fun. 就是今年就花了2-3个星期的时间才完全的接受还有融入到这一个不一样的课程行程，然后但是在除了这些课之外，我们还有很多其他的，比如说小组的 meeting。 在这些 meeting 里面，我们也分享了很多不同的故事，然后也就是通过这个分享，反而那个关系变得更好。
Jerry, how about you?
So like I think IMS is still keeping the connection between the students and the teachers, even if we are in like an online environment. 这几个月呢，就是我们学校一直在处于一个就是网课的状态嘛。但不过呢，就是感觉学生和老师之间的联系还是非常紧密的。就是说，我记得我们的英语课和历史课有给我们留就是 journal 的作业，然后呢，老师们也会就看我们 journal 在了解，然后我们最近的家里的情况。然后呢，就是他们也会跟我们通 email，就是问就是最近对于什么作业啊、上课啊有没有什么问题之类的。所以说还是非常的贴心，一切都很到位的。
So another topic that a lot of families are, I guess, really interested because Heather mentioned it a little bit just now. You know, IMS is actually planned, at least it's planned, to reopen in the fall. And also, with like hybrid measures and all that. One question that I always get, or at least some families have been thinking, because IMS do have, let's say, students, who are day students, they have boarders, and so can you speak a little bit further, on some of these? I mean, if they are set, because I understand some of them may still be in discussion.
Of whether or not they're set to come back to campus?
Yeah, especially when they're set to come back on campus, let's say, do they need to be tested, how the quarantine, and let's say how would, at least once the school start and they start to get into routine, how do the school at least are try to make sure that, they will be, I guess, healthy, during this time here.
We have a whole report that we've written that will be shared with our current and new families I think by the end of next week. So we'll have that available on our website, which I can share, but it's over 20 something pages long. We have 6 committees right now. Actually, I can, so we have a landing page on our website right now that we're planning for the school year. So we have 6 planning committees that have been planning the opening of school. So they've been planning all of the details, which will be included in the report that is coming out. And so we need to have this for the state of Connecticut by the end of July. And so it's completed and our board is meeting to review it on Monday, and then we'll be able to share it with families. But we will, because our students will be coming from all over the world, 4 to 7 days before they arrive, students will be tested. And then we have testing measures that we'll have on campus that will give results in 15 minutes when the students are here. But the report that is coming out very soon will share many, many details about the opening of the school year.
刚才就是 Zion 老师呢，就是问了Miss Eckert 呢，就是关于就是今年9月份开学的那些安排，就现在很多家长呢都会很好奇，就是说，有什么要去就是去做一些什么测试啊，或者是有些隔离的一些情况。那他们学校的话呢，就是在下周也会在学校的网站上面去就是公布这些措施了。
All right, so I guess, this is a time, I'm just wondering, before we open the floor, for Q&A, I'm just wondering, Heather, do you have anything you would like to share on your side?
No, I'm happy to answer any and all questions, and I'm sure that IMS students are too.
Okay, got it. All right, so now we'll open, the floor, the Zoom and also in WeChat, for anyone to have any questions, for either, for I'm Heather, from IMS, or the 4 students. 所以现在的话呢，就老师的那个分享吧，就已经完结了。那现在会有大概15到20分钟的时间让大家去问问题。然后你们可以在微信或者在 Zoom 的这里的话呢，把你们的问题写上去，那我们就会转给，也就是说这个老师让老师会问那些学生也可以。Okay. All right. So there's a question. I guess this is a question where both the students and Heather can chip in. it's on the more on like the secondary placement process, you know. So well, I mean, mainly is about like, well, how would you comment, you know, on what kind of advantage IMS students have, you know, comparing to them applying to, let's say, from a international school in China or any or let's say their home country. So I guess, you know, is a question that both Heather and also the students can answer from their own perspective.
So I'm happy to answer first and then let any of the students speak. But I worked at Blair Academy for many years, and then I was at Hotchkiss as the director of admission operations. And so I've read many applications over the years. My career was mostly in high schools for over 15 years. And the students that came from IMS, I think, were extremely well prepared academically, but also had been exposed to a really well-rounded balance of lots of different art offerings, lots of different athletic opportunities. And I think they also had the skills for self-advocacy to be able to talk to teachers and seek extra help. And so the kids that I have worked with just come with a higher level of confidence and are able to engage much more quickly and are ready to be really successful in high school.
刚才就是老师也分享了，就是他在他来 Indian Mountain 工作之前的话，他是在 Hotchkiss 还有跟 Blair 这两所就是美国顶尖的高中去工作，也是负责招生的工作的。所以Zion 老师刚才就是问就是 Miss Eckert 的话，就是从 IMS 来申请这些学校的学生都有什么特质？所以呢，老师就说呢，他就是觉得来自 IMS 的学生呢，就是他们在学业上基本上都是没问题的，所以他们都是一个比较在学业上比较强的一些学生。然后呢，他们都是非常有自信的，因为就是 IMS 就是有一个很好的平台，让他们去尝试不同的东西，无论是音乐啊，或者是运动，或者是学术方面，都是给他们去尝试一些新的东西。所以就是这个美出的话呢，就是 IMS 就是特别为了他们将来要申请美高做好一个全面的一个准备。
Ryan or Justin, would you like to speak? Because Ryan and Justin both came to IMS for 1 year as 9th graders. So they started the application process in the fall, but they joined our community and within like days were leaders on our campus and became proctors and tour guides. And so even though they were with us for a short time, they were a really big part of the IMS community.
I think the main difference between IMS and different American schools is like the system of support that you get, because at IMS you have, you know, we have our secondary school counselor, of course, as like Miss Schmidt, which helps you a lot, who helps you a lot with a lot of the questions that you have and helps you prepare, make sure you're doing the best that you can. But even so, you have your own teachers because they have to write you recommendations. And it's just, the sense of community there is so strong that like everything's just a breeze because everyone understands you and you don't really have to necessarily put in as much, I don't know how you would say it, like put in as much effort in a sense because everyone's supporting you so much. 那我之前就是说的，就是我觉得在美国读 IMS 跟香港学校最大的分别就是说，那些有更加多的支持你的人，是不是 ？So sorry, my Chinese is bad, by the way. I'm not like Jerry. I'm not a professional translator. 但好像就是说，我们学校全部老师都是会支持你，而且他们会比我觉得会比香港的学校老师更加理解你，了解你，而加上 Zion 的支持，我觉得是更加容易的。因为你想一下，如果你继续在香港里学习，就这样就不能帮你那么多。Because after all, his work is basically in America, you know, and so like he does the best work in America. So like I feel like everyone's support becomes it amplifies a lot more when you study in America.
You're killing my business in Hong Kong, but it's okay.
And like I mean, adding on to that, I think like the fact that IMS is a school that like finishes in 9th grade compared to a lot of like secondary schools in like especially Hong Kong, where the international school that I went to finished like included high school as part of the secondary school program, which means that there isn't that many leadership opportunities that students can like capitalize on to like express themselves more or to like present themselves in a better way to the secondary schools. And IMS is like a place that, well, because the highest grade is the 9th grade, naturally you're going to get a lot more opportunities. Like as Mrs. Eckert already said, Brian and I were able to become like tour guides and prefects and sports captains in a very short amount of time, just because we were like the oldest students on campus already. So for a pitiful translation of what I just said, 那我觉得我和 Ryan 我们两个都是9年级就能进去 IMS 的学生，我们只在学校待了1年。那我觉得这样还是蛮好的，因为 IMS 给了我们很多机会，就作为9年级已经是最大的学生了。就比如我在香港的那个国际学校里面，就我们那个学校是中学就去到13年级，那样呢我们就没有那么多机会做领导者，做 club sports teams。然后到 IMS 的时候，就也可以说是可以变成大王有很多不同的领导机会是9年级会给你的。不过在香港啊，在国内可能在那么小的年龄里面不会就见到那么多不同种类的领导机会。
The other thing I would add is that the high schools, all of the top high schools, which all of these students are going to, they know IMS really, really well. So they know that students coming from, Indian Mountain, they know what they will be able to contribute to the school, and they know that their preparation too.
就刚才 Miss Eckert 就是说，就是因为现在就是说就是申请高中嘛，所以基本上美高的话呢，他们都是认识就是 IMS 这个美初的，因为现在其实很多家庭都会说，为什么我要先去一个美初，就不直接就申请一个美高？所以呢，就是刚才老师说了，因为美高的话，基本上就是对美初，还有就是特别是 IMS 这个学校是特别的了解，所以他们知道就是这些学校的学生的水平是去到哪里，还有再加上就是这个学校也会有自己的老师去推荐，还有他们的一个升学的一个老师去推荐这些学生给就是美高的话，所以基本上的话呢，就机会会大一些了。
Another question coming. So I guess this is more about the application process in the coming year. So, as you mentioned a little bit in the slides too, but there are definitely a lot of uncertainty. Let's say no campus tour, the testing situation is still very unclear. What advice or how do you think students should still proceed if they are going to or looking to apply, this year? We
hope that students will still apply, and continue the process as normal as we can. We definitely really encourage applications and inquiries. And so I think to start by completing our inquiry form online, we are going to be sharing a lot of information virtually. And in some ways, even though we can't tour campus, we'll have a really thorough video so that you'll be able to see all of our classroom buildings. And in some ways, even on Zoom, you'll get to know the students and parents just as well as meeting everyone on campus. So we're really excited for the applicants this year. And we want to try and also make the process as easy as possible. We are not sure yet about testing, given the TOEFL and the SSAT. But we'll have more information there soon. So parents should not worry about that and not be concerned that they shouldn't apply because of some of those questions.
刚才这样老师就是问今年的话，因为有很多不确定的因素，所以如果是在申请的方面呢，老师会给什么建议呢？然后就是 Miss Eckert 的话呢，她就是说，她也是鼓励所有就是对 IMS 有兴趣的家庭去先申请这个学校。那当然就是因为 很遗憾就是这个疫情的问题，很多家庭也不能够去美国那边去访校，还有做这个面试的。但是他们也会去拍很多的一些短的视频，会放到他们的网站上面的。所以就如果就是有些家庭就是也还是不是特别了解学校的，比如说一些宿舍的情况啊，或者是他们的一些设备的话呢，他们也是会就是陆陆续续会把这些短视频都会放在他们的学校网站上面的。然后刚才最后一点呢，他们也有提到，就是现在的话呢，有一些学校他们就说是什么不一定要递交这个标化的成绩或者是怎么样的，但是现在 IMS 的话呢，他们还在开会去商量，就是究竟是不是说一定要递交一个成绩。如果有一些学生真的是因为这个疫情的影响或者是什么其他的原因不能够考这些标化的考试，他们会有怎么样的一个安排呢？他们内部的话还是在做一个讨论。但是总结一句吧，如果就是对 IMS 有兴趣的家庭，还是先申请吧。
All right, so I'll probably take one or two more questions, and then we'll kind of wrap it up because I'm aware of the time. But the next question is more for the students. You know, it's really about, do you have any kind of challenge, or do you have any difficulty, you know, when you first get to IMS? Well, I guess, well, Justin, why don't you start?
I know it might be different for a lot of people, but as for me, I think like knowing both the academic and social aspect of being in IMS, I think like academically, I think if you're studying in an international school, like in Asia, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, or wherever it is, you like the transition, I think academically to IMS is not hard necessarily, but I think like something that I've seen a lot of other kids struggle in is like the increase in social interaction that being in the boarding school is. I know there were some kids like that were of a lower grade than me that were just reading Kindles or playing computer games their whole time, and that I don't think is necessarily the most productive way to like to be able to make use of this opportunity you have in the boarding school. And like the opportunity doesn't last forever, so it's best to like make use of it. And the way to do that, I think, is to interact with as many people as you can, like understand and learn from other friends with different talents and different backgrounds. So to translate that into Chinese, 就我自己来 IMS 的时候就没有什么特别大的困难。我觉得你们要是从新加坡、香港、内地的学生，我相信你们都应该是挺优秀的学生才会来参加这个 foundation 找学习优秀的学生很特别会找的。那我觉得你们学生们来讲，我觉得不会有什么特别大的学习的转变。不过我就觉得就 socially 我觉得在 IMS 就我自己没有过这个问题，因为主要是我以前去过很多不同的美国下校的 program。那我觉得我自己融入 IMS 的社会里，对我来讲不是特别难。不过我也见过很多我其他就比我低年级的朋友们，还有就内地，特别是内地的学生们，就会特别喜欢打游戏，特别喜欢看电子书。那他们就会整天都会融入在他们自己的这种世界里面。不过我觉得就在一个 boarding school 里面，我觉得唯一最好的一个机会就是能跟其他就住在不同地方的人，有不同的 background 的人来相处。所以我觉得在 IMS 一定要把握好这个机会。
Thank you. And you don't need to slip my name in, you know, your answers. It's fine. But Jerry, you spend a little bit more time, and you're from public school background. Do you have another angle that you want to share, different from Justin?
Okay, I can share. For me, I was in a lot of like troubles and difficulties and challenges when I first attended IMS. I was from a public school before I got to the United States, and it was hard for me both in the academic aspect and in terms of socializing. Well, like the key of like getting used to the environment is to like just talk to people bravely and step out and look for help from your teachers. And IMS has a really inclusive environment, and teachers and your classmates are all really nice to help you. So like, don't be afraid. No one will make fun of you.
Oh,
All right.
So, and to add on, like, I think the prefects who helped Jerry were very good.
Yeah, they really helped me a
So they're-
lot in terms of everything.
Right. No, Jerry, I was asking you, which prefect exactly helped you?
Well, both of them, like Ryan and Justin, they both helped me a lot. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, I guess, I'll just take this final question, and then I think we can wrap it all up. So this is a parent, I guess that's a question I think all of you can answer, but it's really about, IMS location, in Lakeville, so it's quite, let's say, there isn't much, I guess, around, the town, but like, how is like student life like, especially during the weekends, and also, yeah, and just the daily life in general, outside of like the studies and activities. So would the students like to answer, share your life at IMS, or would Heather, you like to start first?
The students can start first.
Okay. Well, Ryan, well, why don't you share a little bit? How's your weekends at Lakeville, especially you're still there?
Yeah, well, it's obviously not that bad because evidently I'm still going to be there for 4 years. So like, I think if I didn't like it, I wouldn't put myself through it. But like, the thing I really like about IMS is, the thing I really miss about IMS is actually the weekend activities and things you do outside of school, because honestly, I think it's a lot better than Hotchkiss when it comes to that. And that's majorly because IMS is basically just a smaller school. That's one of the advantages they have. Because of that, they're able to use their resources to organize a lot of different interesting trips that you can take in the weekend. Like, I remember everyone used to be fighting for spots to go to like the movie or like go to a trampoline park, especially with Chris. But I think that every weekend poses a new opportunity to just go out with your friends, have fun. And even if you stay on campus, it's not like there's nothing to do. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe those of you who play a lot of video games might have a little bit of trouble, but like the Wi-Fi, it's okay. Considering you don't even get your technology at night, it's like dismissible. But like, I think overall, it's just, I really enjoy life outside of school because of all the chances that you get to connect with each other. And I'm gonna try to say that in Chinese, but I kind of forgot what I said already. 我觉得呢，IMS 做的一件事情是特别好的，就是说他们周末的那些活动，我觉得比 Hotchkiss 弄得更好。而且，因为每个周末学校都会带很多学生去不同的地方，例如去看电影啊，去 ，you say shopping? I don't know, shopping or 就是很多不同的活动。就我觉得，不但有很多不同的机会可以去不同的地方，连在学校的时候其实时间也过得很好，那很开心。因为我觉得你去了 IMS 之后，你就会发现原来，一个没有那么多科技的生活其实很好的，跟只是一个很简单的生活，跟朋友一起过的才是我觉得是最好的。
Well, like I'm that type of person that chooses to stay on campus most of the time during weekends, just because like I don't prefer long bus rides. So during the weekend, I usually spend most of the time in the student center, like playing the guitar or doing the backdrop for any music concerts or plays and things. Yeah. Yeah. 周末的时候，我大部分时间都比较喜欢待在学校里面，因为我不是特别的喜欢长途巴士，所以大部分时间都会在student center 里面画画、弹吉他，帮学校做一些周末活动。对。
Well, I guess Heather, anything you would like to add on top of what the students have shared?
No, I think they did a great job. I think there's a balance of trying to have many activities and options on campus. We have over 600 acres. and, you know, trips to different places, whether it's dinners or movies or shopping or trampoline parks or trips to New York City 2 to 3 times a year. But we try to make sure that there are lots of different opportunities. And a lot of times the ideas and suggestions will come from the kids too. But I think our surroundings, and because it is in the countryside, just makes our community and the student connections even stronger. And I felt that way when I worked at Hotchkiss and when I worked at Blair, because both of those schools are, Hotchkiss is 5 minutes from IMS, but Blair, the surroundings, it was a small town also.
Well, just for the parents, you know, just to know, you know, like it's not that bad being in the countryside, you know. But that's something a lot of families are, I guess, they're not used to, especially coming from big cities, you know. But well, glad to hear the share. Well, Iris, you can go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So I'll just do like a translation. 所以刚才这样老师呢都是问同学，还有就是问老师呢，就是因为 IMS 的地理位置真的是比较偏的，所以他们一般周末的时候会有什么安排？那当然这个的话，其实也要看每一个学生的一个性格了。有一些可能就会出去，但是出去的时候呢，其实学校那边的话呢，也会就是给他们去安排一些活动，也会有一个就是老师或者是有一个校巴，就是跟着他们一起出去，就是接他们回来这样子。所以这个的话呢，就这个就是安全的这个问题的话，家长都可以不用太担心了。这个的话，如果是出去的话，可能是有一些学生也会给学校提一些建议，说，哎，他们希望周末的时候去哪里玩啊，或者是有什么活动，这个都可以是由这个学生来提出的。那当然，因为比如说刚才 Annie 也说了，他们学校的话，因为可能真的是比较偏的，然后老师也会觉得，就是因为他们的地理位置，可能这个也会是一个优势吧，就会很多的一些技术生都会选择周末的时候就待在学校里面就不会说就是有很多学生都会就是出去或者是回家这样子的一个问题，所以他们整个学校寄宿的那个氛围的话，其实是挺好的。所以为什么就是IMS 这个学校的话呢，就是一个好像一个很温馨的一个大家庭一样，大家就是老师跟学生，还有学生跟学生之间的关系都是特别好。
Well, so I guess, you know, we should we can wrap it up here. You know, I guess it's been great, you know, having all 4 students here, and also thank you very much, Heather, you know, for joining us today and sharing all this new with us. You know, so thank you, Heather, Justin, Ryan, Annie, Jerry. Thank you so much, you know, for being here with us tonight.
Wait, guys.
Okay. What?
I want to say something.
Sure.
Hi, someone left. Okay. I think something that, like, basically we talked about a bunch of things about the school, and I remember last year I used to say the same things, and Xiang would always be like to me, "Man, why are you hard selling this school? It can't be that good." Like, but because I made it seem like it was the best school in the world, and honestly, I genuinely think it's a really, really good experience not because it's necessarily, like, I wouldn't say, okay, like, I don't mean to offend anyone, but it's not the best academic school. It's not the best at sports. It's, like, statistically not the best. But, like, I still think that one thing that sets it different from other schools is that there's everything they do really comes with the priority that we're happy with what we're doing, you know? Like, a lot of the schools, like, I know I went to apply to, like, different boarding schools. If you look at the top boarding schools, a lot of them do a lot of different things. They're really good at everything. But when you ask the kids, are they really happy doing what they're doing? Sometimes the answer may not be yes. 咁其實咧，我想講咩咧，就係那其實我想講什麼，就是說，雖然 IMS 就是數據上可能不會是最好的學校，可能會有更好的選擇，但我覺得，IMS 是最好的學校的原因，是因為他們做的所有，就是它的起因就是我們的開心。而且有时候我们去那些很好的学校，可能那个学校运动会很好，或者成绩很好，但他们的学生也有可能不会那么开心。那我觉得学习是应该是最开心的时候才会有最好的效果。
Wow, very sentimental. Wow, thank you, Ryan.
And Ryan is exactly why our class of 2019 had the best graduation speech.
All right. Good. Wow. So thank you. I guess well, we're really happy, to hear. But if just as the last word, I just want to say, I have worked with, IMS, for 7 or 8 years now, and from my first student at IMS until the current ones there, and then I would say, okay, just to counter a little bit Ryan, okay, actually IMS has pretty good numbers overall, so don't at least for the parents hearing this, don't worry, it's that's not a concern, but actually that's true, and nearly every student I have at IMS graduated very happily, and they really did not regret spending time there. So so I guess if anyone's interested, please contact us contact us, and then we'll definitely help you with your application for IMS. And I guess of course, if you want to, you can fill out the inquiry form, and also contact Heather as well if you have any questions. All right, so I guess maybe we should just so wrap it up here, but again, thank you very much everyone for joining tonight's seminar, and thank you very much Heather for sharing everything with us today.
And thank you Zion for facilitating this. Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you。好的，那今天我们的直播就会到这里，就谢谢大家今天来听我们的这个分享了。有什么的话，随着微信或者 Zoom 上联系我们。All right, thank you，谢谢。